when I say, I mean that 93% of the salary is tied up in the 6 guys.
Yeah, I think there's a glass half full kind of way to look at it, which is they've got 6 guys who are under contract that they don't have to worry about. Towns, Anunoby, Brunson, Bridges, Hart, Robinson. And that's a really good start. I think they could do better with their bench. I also think Tom Thibodeau could do better with trusting his bench. Landry Shamet was a nice little discovery. Would have been nice if he had been playing all year long as opposed to just the last couple of games. Same thing with Precious Achiuwa, who played when Mitchell Robinson was hurt earlier this year. Would have been nice to be able to turn to him earlier in the series rather than later. So I think part of it is coaching, a coaching decision. Part of it is they've got to get better at finding talent in the margins because that's how this thing works. You don't pay everybody. You pay a certain number of people, in this case for them 6, which is actually a pretty good number to have locked up. And then you've got to do a great job with your scouting, with your first-round picks, second-round picks, with your minor league scouting, with your guys, young vets that kind of pop up somewhere and can help a team. That's the next phase of that the front office has to go through.
But can you actually win a championship with 2 out of your starting 5 being that bad at defense, people that you can target right up the spine of your defense? And moreover, I don't know if you saw Becky Hammond's quotes, but is Jalen Brunson just too small? Can your best player be that small for you to win a championship?
So shout out to Master Tesfacion who grabbed that flag and ran with it. You have to understand when Master posts anything, there is a Dallas narrative underneath. So his narrative is that Jalen Brunson isn't that good because he was at the Mavs and the Mavs let him go, and now it's like, oh yeah, he's too small. Becky Hammond said that 2 years ago, right? That's all well and good. Also, they made it to the conference finals, and they were up in 3 of the 6 games, right, in the fourth quarter. So.
Yeah, but what does that mean? They're not good enough, and they needed Cleveland to get knocked out, and Indiana did all the killing, and
Tatum got hurt,
and they're not good enough. And Brunson's their best player, and if he's your best player, that's about as far as you're going to go.
This is the revisionist history that you were just talking about with
they did win the majority of the games in that series with Tatum on the floor.
Right. Well, yes, they were up 3-1 with Tatum, and this thing was crumbling for Boston, and then Tatum got hurt, and then they had one win of like the pride win, and then they lost in game.
Yeah, but what are we doing? Explain to me what we're doing.
I'll explain it. You don't have to preamble. I'll explain it. They're good. Guess what? Only one team wins. Right. They fell. They fell because Indiana had a better game plan and they executed their game plan better. It's not because the Knicks clearly were out talented.
No,
it's not a talent issue.
It's not. Nobody's saying it's a talent issue.
Saying they're not good enough to win with Brunson.
They just lost to a 5.
Okay.
Like they lost to a 5.
Just explain how.
And they're a 3. They beat one of the 2 that were better than them, but maybe they're better than Cleveland next year. And maybe they're not better than Cleveland next year. And I don't know where Giannis ends up. But when we're talking about Boston realized during this year that they might have to make a change while watching what OKC was doing, a structural, architectural change. If Boston is the champion is doing that, I feel like we've sped up. What are you looking at me?
What was Boston realizing had to make a change?
There was a conversation happening during the season as people realized, like you did, OKC has gotten better than Boston. What might that team have to do to change if it loses against OKC?
No, that's not a conversation that was happening.
So it's a conversation that's happening now, is it not?
It was a conversation that was really tied to the purchase price because they had to avoid the luxury tax.
It was all a money conversation.
Okay.
It has nothing to do like, oh my God, OKC's really good.
Their elimination has changed it, though.
Yeah, well, of course, and Tatum being hurt and being out for the next year changes it. There's a lot of stuff that is accelerated because of the circumstances. Most of them are financial. It's not a basketball like, oh, my God, they're so great. We have to change.
My point.
Number 2, because I have to correct something else you said. Indiana was a 4 seed, not the 5 seed. Number 3, Indiana had the best record in the NBA outside Oklahoma City from January 1 on. So when you frame it as, oh, my God, the Knicks should. No, they shouldn't have. They shouldn't have. That was a great team that they played.
They were also only 1 game worse than the Knicks, record-wise, for the season.
There you go.
There are 3 teams in the conference, I can argue today, are better than the Knicks. At least 3. And I don't know what Philadelphia's going to be. I understand if no one trusts anything regarding Joel Embiid. But I do believe that when a season ends, you can either say that you believe, oh, they're good enough as is, and they can add a thing. Or you say, they need to add something better than Brunson. And Brunson is plenty good, but they need to add something structurally that changes their fortunes because 93% of the money is tied up in 6 guys. I mean, and I do believe it's fair to have a structural conversation about the Knicks today.
I agree. I mean, we've seen teams, Carolina in another sport is kind of the same way. Are we good enough? We made it to the conference finals, but then when you peel it apart, well, the conference finals are a little kooky in that sport. You can make an argument that the 4 best teams are from one division that you totally avoid. New York has been in this position before, and they traded away popular players, Hartenstein, DiVincenzo, guys that were really making contributions, and they realized that they have to be aggressive. Now, it's a bit different because they have a hand tied behind their back because they just gave up 5 picks for Bridges.
Yep.
They don't have the same kind of flexibility that they had before, but they got rid of Julius Randle when most Knicks fans were celebrating in the streets thinking that they were close, but they recognized and they were self-aware enough to know that they weren't actually close.
So Hartenstein, they didn't give him up. The rules said we can only pay you this much, and Oklahoma City said, "I'll pay you double." So that wasn't a choice. If we're up to the Knicks, they would have kept him. The Bridges trade, that's if you want to pick on the Knicks front office, that's where you go. Because at the time I said everyone was, "Oh, it's the power of friendship." I said, it's not about friendship. It's a Toyota Corolla. You don't pay $500,000 for a Toyota Corolla, even if you know there's $1 million in gold bricks in the trunk, because it's still a Toyota Corolla, right? And in that sense, you spent that $500,000 or 5 first-round picks on a Toyota Corolla, and now there's a Mercedes on the market, and you're like, if only I had $500,000 on me.
Wait a minute. How many gold bricks were in the trunk?
$1 million.
I'm going to keep that car.
I'm going to keep that car.
Yeah.
What year was it?
I could turn in
what year
those
was it?
bricks, get money, and now buy an even
Greg,
better car.
Greg,
Like
if
it's
you-
for sale.
Especially if it's a low mileage
Greg,
Toyota.
if you go
Gold's
to the-
hard to move.
If you go to the dealership
Right.
Multiple ways.
and a genie says to you, "By the way, that Corolla right there, it's got $1 million in gold bricks in it." Nobody knows. The dealer
Did it
doesn't
weigh-
know. The other customers don't know.
There's a
Nobody
genie.
knows.
It weighs
the
a lot.
The
The
genie,
car
Is this
I
one
would
of my
take it,
wishes?
Why is the genie there?
is there a
the genie
talking
is
like
is Greg's guardian angel.
But if
right?
I have a genie,
Wait,
wouldn't I
Is it
just
a
hold on.
genie or a guardian
Two different
angel?
things.
There's a
It's a
car
genie
with
who's a
gold
guardian
bars, a
angel.
genie's in it
It's
who's a
genie
guardian
who's a guardian
angel.
Is it a
Right.
genie or guardian
Why does the
angel?
genie need to whisper?
Hold
Genie
on.
doesn't give you choices.
Do guardian angels can't be genies? Is that what you're saying?
No way a Camry's trunk is big enough to hold $1 million.
When you say a
in
genie,
gold.
do you mean
Oh, I think
Robin
it is.
Williams
I
is
think it
Greg's
might be.
guardian angel?
You take
Not
the
that
tire
genie.
out, you
That's a
got
little
plenty
bit
of
more.
room.
It's going to be weighted to the floor. It's going to be. You're going to know there's $1 million. You're not going to be able to drive the car. Put it on the poll at Batard Show. Can you move a Toyota Corolla? Can you drive a Toyota Corolla that has 1 million pounds worth of gold weight?
$1 million pounds?
No.
Pounds, dollars.
No,
not
dollars, not
pounds.
pounds.
No way.
Yeah.
Governor, this
Now
ain't-
we're talking.
This isn't the South End, in it?
Forgive me.
In it?
Forgive me.
I love it.
Wait, hold on. I got to do my Tom Hardy. You got to keep talking like this. See, Kev, me and the arrogance, we've got a problem, in it.
I love that.
Yeah,
it
see-
came up on
It
Mob
was not
Mobland.
any good.
Yeah.
It was not any good.
So-
No, it's great. In it?
I did some research. In today's market, $1 million in gold would be 516.65 pounds. So you
Nothing.
could.
That's
Light
nothing.
work.
Yeah.
It's like
Oh, I
two
thought
dead
it was
bodies
heavier.
in the
My
trunk.
bad. My bad. I thought
Light work.
I thought it was heavier than that.